Gina DeLuca here. All right, today you can see I am set up for a straight pour, but I am using mixed pouring medium. I love what has been happening with this stuff, and so I wanted to try my metallic boulder cells. And this is a very thick mix. So I don't know if it's going to work or not, but if nothing else, I'll get a very pretty straight pour without the boulder cells. But yeah, so the colors that we're working with, what I have here on my edges is the Unbleached Titanium by Liquitex. This base color that I have here, I'll use this for my base coat, and I will use it for the background color of the straight pour. This is from a scraped painting that was dubbed Saharan Baby Poop. Nobody was subjected to seeing that one except for Mina Villegas, and she shared my sentiment. So I scraped that paint because I didn't want to waste it, and I added some AmsterdamTitanium White to it to lighten it up because it was a much deeper color than this and it wasn't pretty. But I'll say this, when you scrape a painting, even if the color that you scrape is not pretty, it can be doctored up, and depending on what colors you use with it, any color, just about any color, can be made to look good. So the colors that I'm using to go with this, I have the Decoart Americana Decor Metallics in 24 karat gold, the matte metallics in aged bronze, and this color, I love this color. This is the Folk Art Treasure Gold in antique copper, and it's like a purplish brown. It's like purple, but the flash in it is a coppery color. Really, really cool color. You can probably see it better in here. You can see that this is very thick. It is a mound upon a mound. This is like a 3.5 on my consistency scale. And so the paints are mixed. 1 part paint to 2 parts mixed pouring medium. And then if it needs to be thinned with water, then I do. Some paints need it, some paints don't. As they sit, they can get thicker. So when I get a new jar of the 24 karat gold, it's it pours out very nicely. When you get towards the end and it's been sitting for a while, it does have a tendency to be a bit thicker. So then you will need to thin that a bit. So when people ask me how much water do you add, the answer is it depends. Sometimes none. Sometimes it needs it. It's really a case-by-case basis. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art Inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute, but if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards, and each technique card has an associated video here on YouTube. There is a picture of that particular painting. This box here contains a tip for that particular technique, and here at the bottom you have a color palette that goes along with that particular painting. And then these 2 boxes, those colors are meant to go together and be the basis of a 2-color palette, or you can build off of those colors. And there are also 8 bonus color palette cards. Each color palette card has 5 color palettes. You can use all of the colors or just some of the colors, mix and match the palettes with the technique cards, and you have more combinations than you could ever paint in a lifetime. And they can be used, of course, for more than just pouring. The palettes can be used for any kind of art form, bead making, crochet, what have you. These are available at my website, ginadeluca.net. and now also available at Amazon.com. And if you get them off of Amazon, please do leave feedback. They are sticklers for the algorithm over there, and feedback is a huge part of it. Okay, because this mix is so thick, I'm actually going to start with my pouring cup first. Often I do my base coat first, but in this case, I'm doing the cup first. Okay, I'm starting with the folk art, pouring from up high. I want this to sink. Generally, the way I get these boulder cells is the colors will blend together, and that's what gives it the 3D effect. I don't know if this is going to happen with it being so thick, but we'll find out. And now for the aged bronze. Always check your consistency before pouring into your cup. The sauce may thicken upon standing. And then for the big crowd pleaser, the 24 karat gold. This one sure does make magic happen. Now, there also, in this base color, is some 24 karat gold and bronze, I believe. I think. I've already forgotten what I used in there. Definitely 24 karat gold. So we'll see if that has an effect. And then I'm just going to do a layer on top here. I do find that that helps with the cell making action. And now for our base coat. By itself, this is not the prettiest of colors, but I think, at least I hope, that with the other colors, against those other colors, it will be. The reason I lay down this base coat is so that my paints have something to slide around upon. If you pour onto a dry canvas, the paint that is at the bottom of your puddle needs to stick to the canvas. If you have a base coat, it will slide and stretch and not, unless you pour too or tilt too quickly. Having a base coat keeps the paints from rolling over on top of itself, and that helps you maintain your composition. So it is a step that every time I have skipped it, I have regretted it. It may seem like a waste of paint because it all gets covered up, but I assure you it is not. Anything that aids in giving you the best composition possible is not a waste. It is part of the art. And you'll also notice that when I tilt, there's not a whole lot that comes off. I try to not be wasteful. All right, my base coat is down, and there is quite a bit of shimmer in there because there was the 24 karat gold, but also there were some this little piggy pigments in there. So there is quite a bit of shimmer in this background. I don't know if that's going to affect the cell making abilities. We'll find out. We're experimenting. Let's make a mess. That folk art is just so pretty. Getting closer to the canvas as I get towards the end of the cup. It will give me more control over my center. And I will tell you that is very important because your center is the part that is going to be stretched the most, and it will become your focal point. So if you have a bad dismount, you want to fix it before you stretch. Uh-oh. Well, there was a drip there at the end. So I will now demonstrate how to fix that. So if you have a weird center, what you can do is just take your skewer and just come in and give it a nice swirl. And that will help you immensely. Okay, I have cells popping up. This is fantastic. These colors are looking really, really pretty together. That folk art, that purpley copper against this background, it like goes so well together. I've used this purple before with a similar background, and my fiance looked at it and he's like, I don't know about that yellow. And I'm like, I'm telling you, when I use this purple, it's gonna change everything. And when it was done, he's like, that's why you're the artist. But let's pop some of these bubbles. All right. I'm happy with what's happening. This is all good news happening on this canvas so far. And it is important, if you're going for bolder cells, to be patient. Let your puddle percolate. Let those paints have an opportunity to pop to the surface. And when you get these little cells in your puddle that you've just poured, when you stretch it out, that's what becomes the bolder cells. And sometimes you will get them, you know, without worrying about that, particularly with the satin enamels. I mean, if you use them, you know, if you get the mix just right, they will just take over everything. If I used a 3-ounce cup of satin enamels in this, the whole thing would just be satin enamels. But This is really, really looking cool. That folk art with this background was the exact right color to choose. Patience is paramount. Okay, I'm gonna give this one more hit with the torch, and I likely will not torch again after tilting. The only time I torch after tilting is if I want cells to pop up. If I have a big area of negative space, I might hit that. But I like everything that's going on here. I don't think that that's going to be necessary. I'm going to come in this corner first, and hopefully, because I did that layer of the background color on top, that's what a lot of this is, and I have some cells popping up through there. So I might be able to just catch that and not lose too much of my color and be able to get some of these gold cells up in this corner. I gotta tell you, this stuff is thick. It is a very different animal than my usual mix with Floetrol, which I would mix with metallics to a 2. This is a 3 or more. Am I going to be angry about that corner? I might be. I'm going to regret that. All right. I need to take that off. That was too much bikini line for me. And I will come across to this opposing corner. Slowly. If you are mindful of where the weight of your paint is, you can almost make corners. Almost. And the weight of your paint is going to be where your paint is moving the fastest. That is the best way to tell. One thing I will say about this pouring medium is the edges hold up amazingly. I probably wouldn't even have to do that painting of the edges first, but I do it anyway. Better safe than sorry. It only takes 2 minutes to save me an hour of touching up later, especially with a custom blended color, which this of course was, because, you know, it was scraped. Okay, this is going to be a long trip to the other side. The more I stretch this, the more cells tend to pop up. Ever so slowly. Kind of don't have much of an option when it's this thick. Okay, and again, bringing the paint back to center. And then I will adjust my composition. So now I'm just kind of moving that little center area around and trying to get that exactly where I want it, because I'm a control freak like that. Okay, I think that is it. So I am going to scrape my edges. So I scrape the bottom here, and if I have a corner that's showing and I don't like it, you can just use what you just scraped and just let it drizzle down. So we scrape the sides because if you don't, those drips will continue pulling paint from the sides of your canvas. And you know, you might not want that. So you don't want that changing your composition. So I will do that, and then I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit and see if more cells pop up, and then I'm gonna bring you in for a close-up. Back in a few. Okay, here it is. This camera is not doing these colors justice. But you can tell this area here no longer has that baby poop look. That next to that purple, when it blends in with that, it's just very, very pretty, kind of creamy, almost buttercreamy. Not sure if you'll be able to see all the sparkle in there, but there is no shortage of sparkle. See, you are just not seeing that. When I pull out, it doesn't quite have that same effect. But that is what this painting is looking like. It's all about the angle, I think, as far as the refraction of the lights that are overhead and how this is picking it up. I am happy with how this turned out. My center kind of has that rose effect. I can't be mad at this. You can see that folk art color. It's like purple, but copper. Very interesting. Very, very interesting paint that is. But there it is. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do check out the description box below for links to my PayPal tip jar if you feel so inclined. Always appreciate it, but never expect it. Also in the description box, you will find the links to my website, GinaDeLuca.net, where you can find my art and music for sale, as well as the fluid art inspiration cards, and they are also available on Amazon. And my affiliate links, Decoart, yay! You can get the paints that I use today at their website, and if you enter through that link, I will receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. The same with Arteza and Amazon and Blick. All those affiliate links are in the description box. And my, what else? What else is there? Our Facebook group, Go Make Some Art. Join us there. Post your masterpieces. Ask your questions. Or just come and get some inspiration. I think that's it. I believe that's it. All right. Well, I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Now, go make some art.